Wow. Thank you very much. Fantastic to be in the company of Christiana. It's great that you're here. Thank you. And thank you, Aaron, for that introduction and asking me to speak today. I really genuinely believe that it is our responsibility as a public service broadcaster to raise awareness of the biggest issues in contemporary society. And as I think we all know here, the environment and the legacy we leave the next generation is certainly one of the most urgent of our times. As I think you all know, these aren't easy issues to tackle, and the complexity and the scale of the challenge, I think, can often seem overwhelming for programme makers, never mind the audience. When there are billions of tonnes of carbon released into the atmosphere, what can any of us really do to make a difference? If we want to cut down on our plastic use, how can we possibly affect an industry that produced 13 billion plastic bottles in the UK alone last year? But by telling stories, by explaining problems like this, it's precisely where television, I think, can come into its own as a medium. Television can make the distant seem immediate and the global seem local. It can make the impossible seem possible. You may remember the images of that famous blue whale carrying her dead calf across the ocean in Blue Planet 2. It was a moment that connected emotionally with audiences and provoked more reactions than almost any other piece of television in 2017. It generated over 1,200 tweets a minute on Twitter. It won a BAFTA for the year's must-see TV moment in any genre. Following the programme, internet searches for plastic recycling went up by more than 50%. Searches for the dangers of plastics in oceans went up 100%. 8 out of 10 people said it made them care much more about conservation. Within a month, the government had set the UK the challenge of becoming a world leader in tackling the scourge of plastic littering our planet and our oceans. Meanwhile, global companies like McDonald's banned plastic straws. Millions of people decided to make a difference and cut the amount of plastic they used. And it wasn't just in the UK where the programme had an impact. 750 million people around the world watched at least one episode of Blue Planet 2. It's an incredible statistic. So it's clear that television, if used effectively, can make a real difference to the world around us. Television can be a power for good. But of course, we must be mindful, both on and off screen, about our environmental responsibilities. And I want to set out 3 principles that really are guiding the BBC's approach, both on and off screen. Firstly, I don't think we should ever forget that making television programmes can take its toll on the environment, its own toll on the environment. Every dramatic moment we capture on camera requires us to send crews on location and think about the environmental impact of that filming. 9 years ago, the BBC invented its own carbon calculator called Albert in order to monitor the amount of carbon productions were actually emitting and to prompt production teams to explore ways to reduce their carbon footprint. Now, I'm very proud that the carbon calculator has been taken up by BAFTA, and it's now used across the industry, and it's a core part of the advice service that BAFTA offers to producers and broadcasters. It's inspiring to see the BAFTA Albert kite mark, or rather footprint, at the end of credits on ITV, Channel 4, Sky and UK TV, as well as BBC programmes. So whilst internally we will also continue to implement the Greener Broadcasting Strategy, which we announced last year, to ensure that we're all doing all we can to be sustainable off-screen as well as on. Secondly, at the BBC, our job, I think, is not to campaign politically on this or any issue. Our mission is, as it always has been, to inform, educate, and crucially, to entertain. We know there's a real hunger amongst audiences of all ages to find out more about environmental issues and to arm themselves with the fact. So we're going to present audiences with the facts clearly and accurately to allow them to make up their own minds and make up their own choices. The reception that programmes like Liz Bonin's RTS award-winning Drowning in Plastic or Hugh Funny-Whittenstall's War on Waste, Stacey Dooley's Fashion's Dirty Secrets and last week's Blue Planet Live, the reception these programmes have received shows that there's a desire from peak time audiences to hear about strong environmental stories which provoke debate and discussion. Thirdly, we want to build on the audience reaction to these shows by continuing to focus on environmental issues in the years ahead. This year, we've launched a new banner under which all our programming tackling sustainability will sit: Our Planet Matters. This isn't just a season, it's an ongoing commitment to programming which challenges and informs audiences. Over the next decade, we'll commission new programmes and build up a collection of online resources and archive about our planet and the environment in which we live. Last week's Blue Planet Live was the first Our Planet Matters programme, and it went out in peak time on BBC One with live broadcasts from Mexico, the Bahamas and Australia's Great Barrier Reef, exploring how the oceans are changing and the challenges facing animals now. Whilst back at home, Blue Planet UK focused on the UK's marine wildlife. Liz Bonin, who presented Blue Planet Live from Australia, is also making a separate programme for us, examining what the UN describes as the world's most urgent problem, as she investigates the true impact of our meat consumption on our planet. And Chris Packham is setting out to explore the challenge an ever-growing population places on the Earth's resources, asking what does a world of 10 billion people look like, and if we did want to reduce our rate of reproduction, what are the implications for the human race? Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall and Anita Rani will present War on Plastics. They'll experience firsthand the devastation that plastic waste is having on our planet, whilst continuing to challenge the most environmentally unfriendly businesses, empowering us all with the ways we can bring about change and make a difference here locally in the UK. Meanwhile, Gordon Buchanan will be making an epic 25,000-mile journey along the equator. In Equator from the Air, Gordon will conduct a planetary health check around the globe. And finally, BBC One will be broadcasting a special film, a special documentary presented by Sir David Attenborough, examining the science of climate change and detailing exactly what's happening to our climate today, as well as scientists' predictions for the future of the planet. It's called Climate Change: The Facts, and the film will deliver an unflinching exploration of what dangerous levels of climate change could mean for human populations, what is likely to happen exactly if global warming exceeds 1.5 degrees, and if major reductions in CO2 emissions are not made in the next decade. We'll broadcast it in peak again on BBC One, so it reaches the widest possible audience. But as you can see, I think we are really committed to using the power of television to keep the focus on the widest range of environmental issues, and we'll look at them all in the round and over time. We'll work with BBC Learning so that children can explore the questions raised further, and Springwatch is going to involve viewers around the country in a nationwide study of the health of our own UK wildlife. But we want to find new approaches and formats, bold and innovative storytelling, to explore the subject in different ways that really cut through with audiences. We don't want this to be a short-term fad or for audiences to get bored of the subject. We need to provoke and we need to inspire audiences, to entertain them, yes, but to also arm them with the facts so they feel empowered to make their own choices. So if you have an idea in any genre, please do get in touch. And I want to end this evening with a message of hope and optimism. The environmental challenge might be global and it might be massive, but I believe television has the power to make a real impact on each of our lives. Our programmes can empower audiences to bring about change. TV can make a difference, and we should be proud of what we've achieved so far and enthusiastic about what we can achieve in the future. Thank you very much.